Ladies and gentlemen, what's good, y'all? This is Stud Chillmeister Chris Gary, and you are listening to and watching another very special Focus Fights video preview. Well, review. Basically, what I'm saying is this is another very special edition of Focus Fights audio, but on the video side of things, as of course, considering the fact that we were basically 8 days ago putting up reviews previews of this show, we're gonna actually do our best to talk about the review of this event, Super Rising 2, Bellator versus Rising 2, whatever you want to call it. It happened this past weekend, and by this past weekend, meaning July 29th into the 30th, from the world famous Saitama Super Arena in Saitama City, Saitama Prefecture, Japan. Of course, the first part was shown on Showtime. The second part was shown on Fight TV. I am not alone talking about this fight card. From Southern California, I have JayWolf by my side, and all the way out from, I guess, the Nordic circle, Scandinavia, but really Poland, Daniel D. Zubicki. How are y'all doing?
Hello, guys. Hello, guys. I'm really looking forward to just share my thoughts about that show, because it had some mixed moments, some downs and ups, and of course we will take something from these shows, the best and the worst things.
Yeah, it's fantastic to be back with you guys to talk about this. I'm really excited. You know, I just love talking about it, the Epic Rising Superior rule set. So I'm excited to keep talking with you, especially Daniel Zubicki from Poland in here, main man from Poland. Man, it was great to talk to you, brother, and glad you're on the show. And let's get this review show going.
Let's go.
Oh, Jay Chris, you there?
Yes,
oh, there
yes, I'm here. But yeah, the point of the matter is, when it came down to this particular fight card, it had a whole lot to talk about, not just during the thing. Actually, all the drama really took place, I guess, after the show or right at the end of the show. I don't know. I mean, why don't you explain, Jay?
It was during the middle, like right before the main, like before the intermission, the second intermission, before like the main title fights card is when it was happening. It was right after Chihiro Suzuki knocked out Patricio pound for pound Pitbull, one of the biggest upsets in modern MMA history, if not the biggest. It was sensational. And when that happened, Kleber Koike was celebrating, and Patricky Pitbull, Patricio's brother, Patricky Pitbull, took exception to that and went up and had some words with Kleber, and ended up shoving Kleber back into his chair and into the railing a little bit. Kleber then took his grievances to the bosses, and they couldn't really do anything about it. So Kleber took the situation into his own hands, and then backstage rushed them and did like a flying Bruce Lee kick to Patricky's back. And they had a backstage scuffle, and a la like in Almighty Pride FC with Wanderlei Silva and Crazy Horse and all them. And so it was, high drama inside the ring and outside the ring. So it was quite a show. But that's what happened. That's what you're talking about, Jay Krish.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, come to think of it, let's just say, considering the fact that Bellator and Rising were both co-jurisdictions and part of this, let's just say, if this event were to have happened not on Hawaiian soil, because that would be too easy to say, but if it were to happen on mainland U.S. soil, how big would the repercussions have been for such an incident like this?
We don't know yet, because Kleber made his own statement, and we know that there will be some tape, because Rising staff recorded from what we can know. from these interviews. Rising staff recorded some tape from that, I don't know how to say, confrontation between Pitbull and Kleber.
Yes, yes, for the Rising Confession series you're talking about.
If they will ever release it, we will know the truth. It's like, it's a very good comparison, Jay, because it's like a crazy horse against shootbox back in the Pride days.
Absolutely, yeah, and the reason that we know that Daniel brings up a great point about the footage and how we know exactly what happened is because that's how we know that Kleber got pushed after Patricio got knocked out, because Patricky, it's on a cell phone camera from the crowd. You can see him walking up to Kleber, and then they have words exchange, and then Patricky shoves him, and then Kleber goes flying back into the railing. And then, like Daniel was saying, they have backstage cameras and stuff all the time, because they film their Rising Confession series on YouTube is like backstage behind the scenes access. And they do shows like that, so hopefully they'll have the footage. They got to have the footage of. I mean, come on, those caliber of fighters backstage, they got to have it. They had to have the camera on them when that was going on. So hopefully we'll get.
If anything, we'll probably see the. I mean, if anything, considering how much detail goes into the Rising Confession series, and I'm sorry if I'm not on camera right now because I am about to eat something, but still though. I mean, yeah, what the fuck do you expect? I'm a fat ass. But still though.
Bon appetit.
Right. But still though, considering the fact that Rising takes so much dedication into the Rising Confession series, I think that when it comes down to it, you'll probably see like X amount of different camera angles or a full-blown detail of what happened, even though it'll have to be, done in the lab or worked in translation, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what else I would expect too? Potentially down the line, a super fight was set up right there, right? Because Kleber is having problems making weight at 145 pounds, right? He was just stripped of the title for missing weight. So, you could see theoretically he could move up to 155 pounds lightweight, right? That is Patricky's division. Tricky Pitbull is a lightweight right now. He just moved on to the lightweight Grand Prix for Bellator, and so in the future, I could see him and Kleber having a fight and having a great collaboration super fight there, and they could use this backstage footage of this whole, including the camera footage from the crowd, even of showing the push and stuff, and use that for like the VTR hype vids for the potential super fight in the future.
Oh yeah. And yeah, they should definitely get Daisuke Sato to work on that, especially considering that he's the god of VTRs. But still though, when it comes down to the incident in total, and we'll talk about the results of the Bellator portion in just a few, but when it comes down to this thing, it's definitely going to lead to, if not a big fight, then most definitely a big rivalry, a la the Shooter Box Academy versus Brazilian Top Team back in the Pride days.
Definitely, it has a lot of common with that things from the Pride days, because basically Bonsai team, okay, it's just Japan based in Iwata near the Yamaha factory, but let's say this, it's a typical ground fighters gym, despite of Hiroaki Suzuki is one of the striking coaches there, but their most famous representatives are Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys, neo jiu-jitsu, like they are saying, and Pitbull brothers with their whole team, because you can check it for example on Topology, that it's not just to Pitbull, it's just like a whole team behind them. lots of fighters, and you can see that like just a pit bulls, because they are more like a striking based fighters, but they have changed their style through the whole years. That there are in fact the two pit bulls, Patricio and Patricky, are totally different fighters than in the Björn Rebny's Bellator's times, but still they are more striking concentrated, I think, and this is a good comparison, BTT against Shootbox.
Yeah, absolutely, and it'd be a fantastic rivalry to play out in the future as well, because the Pitbull brothers, like Daniel's saying, they have a bunch of great fighters in their gym. And I mean, so and Bonsai and them, they also got some great fighters. We could see, some gym clashes, bouts in the future, everything. I mean, it's that they could take this incident and turn it into something really cool for us. So let's hope that happens. Oh, Jay Chris, you're muted. You're muted.
sorry. But still, though, I get what y'all both are saying, especially considering the historical preference of it. Because in a way, it is, in a way, the Pitbull brothers versus the Bonsai Jiu-Jitsu team could be this generation's version of Brazilian top team versus Shooter Box. But, if they were to actually book this, at least book a fight between Kleber Koike versus Patricio Pitbull, it has to be sold right,
No, Patricky, his brother. Patricio is the featherweight that got knocked out by Chihiro. Patricky Pitbull is his brother. That's the 155-pounder that shoved Kleber.
Damn it. I keep getting those two mixed up. I know they're twins, but come on. Cut me some slack.
Yeah.
Still, though, I get what you're saying. Now, when it comes down to the results of this show, I think they're pretty commonplace. First off, Lorenz the Monsoon Larkin defeated Andrei Spartan Korshkov via split decision. Magomed Dog choked out the Italian gangster in his own mind, Danny Sabatello, in 3 minutes, 55 seconds. Kana Watanabe won a controversial decision similar to the loss she had against Elimele McFarland. This time it was a win over Veta Ortega in the Bellator flyweight world title contest that really wasn't. It ended in 25 seconds after, I think, Makoto Shinryu Takahashi, by the way, got his eye poked by Kyoji Horiguchi. And in the main event, the late notice Bellator $1 million lightweight world Grand Prix bout, Patricky Pitbull showed his dominance again by knocking out rising lightweight champion Roberto Satoshi de Sousa in about 2 minutes into the first round, right? The first or second?
Second round.
Yeah.
You should have got a first round. You should have got a first round KO, because they like exchanged flying knees in the first round, and Patricky's flying knee landed really good, and it could have been a TKO if he was following it up, but the ref just let it go out because it was the end of the round. But he should have probably waved it off right there. Would have spared Satoshi from getting his leg chopped down in the next round and stuff. Also, just real quick, it wasn't Lorenz that won. It was Andrei Koreshkov that won the split decision in the opening bout.
Right. I'm an idiot. I didn't realize these things going through.
You saw a split decision. It was a split decision, so you saw that, and just in your head you're thinking, oh. So that's all. But yeah.
Right. But still, though, it was a rematch as well, too.
Correct. Yeah. And Larkin had won the first one, and that's why Koreshkov took the wrestling to heavy approach this time to get the W back and avenge that loss. And now they're either 1-1 now. So.
Yeah, of course. But you say that. And Daniel, you can. If you want to go ahead and talk, feel free.
Oh yeah. In general, aren't you disappointed about the Bellator's part? Because we had some bright points like a Magomedov's guillotine choke. It was very technical, very strong. It was really good, but kind of short fight. Kana Watanabe against Veta Arteaga was okay fight, like lots of action. I was kind of surprised that Kana is going for exchanges with Veta, and it was like a really nice surprise for me. But the Koreshkov against Larkin fight wasn't very exciting, to be honest. Horiguchi against Takahashi, we know that no contest was totally disappointing thing, because we all wanted great fight, great 5-rounder fight. Maybe not a 5-rounder because of finish, but we all expected really great scrap. And first and foremost, Patrick Ipidu against Roberto Sousa. Okay, we know that Satoshi went to this fight, took the late notice offer because of his high ambitions to just try his abilities against Bellator fighters, but he was not he was really big underdog here, because he was totally on hostile territory. His first fight in cage in years. From what I know, from what I remember, he fought in his first fights in real FC fights in the cage, the unified rules, the 1 week notice with the guy after the full camp. So it was really, the chances that he will succeed against the Patricky were really small.
Yeah, absolutely, Daniel, and you bring up such a great point too, as well, bringing up all the bad luck that the Bellator had. I mean, that's all it really is, and on the We Are Rising show, I was bringing up saying a joking theory that we had about it was Dingleberry Dana that caused it, but I don't like that I brought it up and on camera, and I don't really think so. I just want to apologize about that to Dana White and to Lord God himself, and ask forgiveness. But anyways, it's just bad luck. That's what happened. That's why they were so injury prone with just 3 fights. We got canceled, not canceled, but they had to have injury replacements for him, right? And the card would have been it was so fantastic on paper before, and these were 3 high profile fights that had the injuries, right? And then that's not even counting the flyweight, highly anticipated flyweight title fight that ended on a 25-second eye poke, like Daniel was saying. So it was just extreme bad luck. And it's just like Bellator, it seems like anybody that gets close to that number 2 has gets bad luck. So it's like it just sucks that, but you know what, they can break that. All I gotta do is keep put on great fights. These events, these collaboration events are so freaking fun, even with all the injuries and the flyweight title fight going. It was still a fantastic event overall, right, Daniel? I mean, even with the Bellator portion only having Tiger Magomedov submission, and that's pretty much it, because the Satoshi match, like Daniel was saying, was like a 4-day notice, and Satoshi, no way he was ready for a full camp Patricky Pitbull. It just wasn't fair to him. He was just jumping up the opportunity to help save that card and the lightweight Grand Prix fight to keep it on that card. But the Bellator, the Rising portion, the Super Rising portion afterwards was fantastic. And the rabbit out of the hat.
Come to think of it, you talk about the Super Rising portion. We'll get to that momentarily.
Oh, okay. You want to say that for the Rising portion? Yeah, but I mean, just like Daniel was making a great point about all the injury replacements that had to happen, and Satoshi, like he was saying, took it on less than a week notice, and that's not really, he put up a valiant effort, because he was throwing jumping knees. He was trying to get score the takedowns and to work his world-class ground game and submission game, and just Patricky was in too good a shape for him. So And it was just bad luck that the card turned out that way. It's not really. I don't think it's really anybody's fault, to be honest with you. I don't think it's just bad luck that happened to him. And the way to fix that is just keep putting on these sensational events, because it's not going to happen to every single event. Okay, and they keep putting on these extremely fun events like this. It's going to deliver, just like New Year's Eve. The New Year's Eve collaboration mega event was absolutely sensational. This one, even with all the injury, it was still sensational. So I mean, just keep doing what you're doing, and it'll be fine.
To be honest,
Understood.
about the Satoshi's participation, I was kind of naive that he can do more that he's shown during this fight. And in theory, in paper, after the full camp, I would say that he would be an improvement to this card for AJ McKee. But right now, Satoshi went fully unprepared. And there's I can admit that my thinking was bad. My thinking was wrong, because I was thinking that Satoshi can do totally more than he actually shown. I think I wouldn't like to see an immediate rematch right now. I would like to have some other fights for Souza, and then Sakakibara, along with Coker, can back with this idea after some couple of fights. But we all know the topic about rivalry between those two gyms, and it's still, you know, it's still they are still it's still available to match them up in any moment.
Yes, and the rivalry between the brands too, Daniel, because that was also a Bellator versus Ryzen. Because it was Patricky was Bellator, Satoshi was Ryzen, and you know there. And how about this too, Daniel? Could they have it to where they could also have when Kleber and Patricky match up, and they could use that as saying Kleber is going to avenge the Satoshi loss, because they're from the same gym, so that could play into that the gym rivalry and stuff like that, like you guys are talking about. Just throwing ideas out there, and because Patricky's part of the lightweight Grand Prix, so his next bout is already determined. He's facing Alexander Shabli in the quarterfinal bout of the Bellator lightweight Grand Prix. But if he loses
and Brett Primus is taking on Usman Nurmagomedov for the lightweight title.
Yes, thank you very much. And that is going to be on Bellator 300 in October. That's not officially announced yet. That's rumored, but that's looking like what's going to happen. So maybe they'll put Patricky on there, although that might not be enough time for him to. Actually, maybe it is, because Shabli's ready right now. Patricky only had a round and a half, where he was the only one that went through camp. He didn't really take that much damage, so maybe he is ready by October. So they could put both semifinals on that card. And if Patricky loses, then they could, for the end of the year, maybe do the Kleber matchup, or maybe a rematch with Satoshi if Satoshi's already defended by then. Who knows? So just throwing ideas out there for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
What can I say about Satoshi? We all feeling disappointed about his performance, and but we know how he fought against his brother, the Pitbull's brother, Patricio, on UFC. It was a fight that I was personally scoring for Satoshi, and
me too.
But he was after the full camp on the ring, and we can say that whole comments that appeared after that fight, that who the fuck that they brought up, and this is a bomb from Japan. No, this is totally not true, because if you are saying that kind of things, you can see how Satoshi was doing against Patrick's brother on UFC. That's all from my side.
Yeah, no, Dana, don't worry about that. Those are just UFC shills, UFC fanboy dinglings, like they call them. They're just hating because look, the Ryzen, Epic Ryzen, and the Superior rule set puts on better action than the UFC. We all know this, okay? So that's what they're hating on, and you bring up a great point also, Daniel. I just want to make sure to point that out too, about how Satoshi hadn't fought in a cage in a long time, and also how he was fighting under the pussified or excuse me, the unified rules. So you make a great point about how Satoshi wasn't used to that type of stuff as well in this fight. So it's even more reason to have a rematch in the future.
Come to think of it, Roberto Satoshi de Souza did start out with Arzalet fighting or Real Fighting Championship under unified rules. So it's not like his career has entirely taken place under the superior rule set.
Right. No, I know. It's just a different. It's just another factor to and it puts him in the mindset too of that, especially for Patricky as well. He doesn't have to worry about certain strikes and stuff like that. It's just another factor to why what happened, because differences between how would they fight in the ring and the cage. Daniel's totally correct about that. The cage, was definitely Satoshi has been used to fighting in the ring for his past several dozen fights, right? So that I guarantee you that's definitely a contributing factor as well. It doesn't have to be like a main, factor. Obviously, the short notice facing a full camp Pitbull brother, that's the main factor. But definitely, it being in the cage instead of the ring, especially for when he's trying to hit those takedowns and stuff on him. On Patricky, that's definitely a contributing factor. Let's put it that way.
Okay, I have one last question. When they can possibly have a rematch about after this fight? We all know that Patricky Pitbull advanced to the semifinal of the Grand Prix, as UJ said before, and right now. Satoshi has to defend his title. It's time for the title defense, because he did it in 2022 because the New Year's Eve fight wasn't for a title, despite the rising ring and rule set. And I think this is the way for him right now. And after the Grand Prix, they can be back with the idea of the rematch. Totally.
Yes. Who would you have him defend his Ryzen title against now, Daniel?
Takeda.
Who would Akeda?
Yeah.
Oh, Takeda. Excuse me, yeah. Takeda. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, okay. Fantastic. Now, I was also thinking there's another idea as well for you
on Luis Gustavo, sorry. Or Luis Gustavo.
You want Luis Gustavo? Okay, Killer Gustavo. Oh, fantastic as well. Okay, that'd be another good one. Now, how long do you think it's going to be that Satoshi's going to be out now from this? Because he got his legs chopped out pretty good, and he took some, that flying knee that was it rocked him pretty good. So he was taking some damage in that bout. So how long do you think it'll be before he's able to get back in the ring? You think he'd be ready by October or November? That's 3 months away.
You know what? Right now we have probably the almost full schedule of Rising 2022. We know that we will have a show in Saitama in the end of September. Then we will have Landmark in Nagoya in October, and then we will have Landmark 7 in Baku, Azerbaijan, and then the New Year's Eve. And we don't know yet, but I know about, this is the rumor, because Bellator can possibly have its own show, like in 2019, on December 29th. And we have plenty of possibilities, but I highly doubt that he will be put into the Azerbaijan card. So one of that Japanese cards in September or November or October, and we should know that if it will be in cage, he won't defend his title, because the title defenses are only at numbered shows or the shows on the ring.
So basically,
the Saitama Saitama in September or New Year's Eve. That's the two possibilities.
So basically, Daniel, what you're saying is if Vugar Kalmov, who is the new Ryzen featherweight champion, and we're going to get to talking about Ryzen Landmark during the Ryzen portion of the podcast.
Yeah,
I mean, we only got 2
definitely.
hours and 30 minutes to work with, but still, though, when it comes down to, when it comes down to Vugar Kalmov, if he were to even think about competing on that Ryzen Landmark card, it would have to be in a non-title fight.
So far, the politics of title defense in Ryzen were like I've said before, only in the ring. No title defenses in the cage.
Daniel,
Okay.
And you also brought up, you're saying the Azerbaijan International Ryzen is going to be Landmark 7, meaning it's in the cage.
Yes.
Is that confirmed?
It was announced as such on the card.
It was. Okay, so it's official that the Azerbaijan event is a caged Landmark event. Okay.
It is.
Awesome. Now, Daniel, the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. Finish it. Okay. Okay, yeah. The next thing was that how you were talking about the title fights and how you want to make the format only be for when the Ryzen belt is on the line, when it's in a ring only on the numbered events. Also, how about the recent rumors about them changing the title fights to being either 5-minute rounds like they do over here, or going back to the 10-minute first round with 2 5-minute subsequent rounds? I think they should do that. And in addition to what you're saying of keeping the title fights in the Ryzen ring, I also think for those title fights, they should upgrade them to the 10-minute first rounds and bring that back.
Definitely, they should try to do with this to just make the title fights different than the normal super fights. But Shingo, at the Q&A session with Drake Riggs, explained that they won't be going to just make the title fights longer, because they would have to, for example, change their scoring system and something like that. But what I wanted to say, after the Vugar beat Mikuru, and right now he is the champ, I won't be surprised if Ryzen will change the Landmark 7 to the numbered show in Azerbaijan, just to put the show into a ring and make a title defense against Kleber for Vugar, because this is the most logical way that they can put up the things during this year in a featherweight division.
Nice. And that's if they keep it with only defending the titles while it's in the ring. So, but if it's in the cage, they could still theoretically put the title on the line as well for Vugar, even though it's in the cage. But it just wouldn't be only a ring title, basically. So I missed that on Drake Riggs' podcast. So it's for sure they're not going to the 10-minute round. Darn, that's a bummer. I would have liked that one. And they're not even going to extend it to 5 rounds, 5 minutes for the title fights?
I think that they should do it, but I know that they won't do it.
Oh, okay. So, I thought for sure they were going to do that as well. That's a bummer. What did they say? That's all right. I guess we can ask for that in the future. Just keep look. Vugar is going to be on the Azerbaijan card, and if it's in the cage, don't put the title on the line, even if it's in the cage. Okay, don't need to switch it all around to the ring and stuff like that. Just have it, and then you can have another defense or if you want to make it non-title, whatever you want to do. So just keep Vugar on the card. The same with Tofik as well. So that's going to be Daniel. I'm hoping that they bring a bunch of East Euro fighters from like your neck of the woods right there, in Poland and everything, and for some of those fantastic Polish promotions, and hoping for some Russian fighters as well. And dude, it's gonna be because it's Azerbaijan's right there close to Dagestan, where all the the Khabib camp and stuff is. So I mean, man, I'm hoping we get some fantastic international guys on the Azerbaijan event.
Jay, do you remember that moment during the last period of Dream promotion? They had put the old school Pride style format on the title fights. It was 10 minutes first round, and the second and third round were 5 minutes rounds, and it was they made the things different than the regular super fights. I remember that there was some 5 times 5 minutes rounds. It was definitely it took place, but they were switching the formats, and they couldn't make the consistency because for example they have ceased the operations. But right now I think that Ryzen will if they want to do something, even they will, if they will want to do something, they will keep the consistency, because the I think this is the best way. If they really want to keep the free rounders for the titles, and they have a let's say they have an idea for this, they should do this. But personally, I would like to just make it longer. For example, the old school Pride style 10-5-5.
Oh, agreed, 100%, Daniel. 100% agreed. So I mean,
now going back to, I mean, obviously this is all cool and stuff. I mean, I would love to see what Ryzen's gonna do with their title fights. I would love to see what Ryzen's gonna do with this Azerbaijan show. I mean, we'll get right back to talking about that, as we talk about the Ryzen portion of the event. But going back to Bellator, how do y'all think? I mean, I know y'all talked about this earlier, but do y'all think it was completely disappointing that Bellator trotted out a half-ass product? And when it comes down to the fact that the Bellator PFL news has been in the news as of late, I mean, Todd Atkins posted it first, then everybody else from Ariel Helwani to Mark Raimondi to basically everybody with a fucking blog has put the damn news out about this, stealing from Todd Atkins' hard work of getting the scoop first. But still, though, with the Bellator PFL news on the horizon, so to speak, do you think that it will probably mark the end of Bellator doing co-branded shows with Ryzen, unless it's, of course, New Year's Eve?
Yes. Unfortunately, that's the worst thing about the buyout. But before, if it happens, they're not going to do collaboration. I mean, unless let's
face it. The one time that the PFL worked with Ryzen was sending Satoshi Ishii's boring ass over to get knocked out.
What do you mean? Was he under contract with PFL at that time?
Yes, I think it was in 2019. He went over from the PFL to Ryzen. Let me try and search for the exact date.
No, that's okay. My point is was he under contract with PFL at the time? He was a PFL contracted fighter, and they let him go over to Ryzen.
He just wrapped up. I mean, at the time that Satoshi Ishii, by the way, 2008 Olympic judo gold medalist, now boring everybody in kickboxing. But yeah, still though, point of the matter is Satoshi Ishii was a contracted PFL fighter going over to Ryzen, only to get his ass whooped by the now convicted felon Jay Kuhn.
No, look, that's fantastic news. Okay, I didn't realize he was contracted with PFL at the time. That means PFL's open to collaboration. Maybe we will get some collaboration still. Maybe it'll happen. That's absolutely brilliant. You know, I wish somebody would ask Ray Seppo about that.
Yeah, somebody should ask Ray Seppo about that, and Peter Murray. Well, Peter Murray don't run the PFL, does he?
No, it's Don Davis. Someone, you know what?
Yeah.
Jay Chris, I'm going to write some letters and emails and tweets, and we're going to get to the bottom of this. That's an important question. I mean,
yeah, but still,
before I was thinking they weren't going to do it because they didn't do Cyborg Kayla Harrison, right? So I'm thinking they don't do they're not down with collaboration. But I didn't know that Ishii was under a PFL contract. That opens the door that they are okay with collaboration, especially with the Epic Rising. So I mean, dude, it's all still possible. This is amazing.
It is still possible, but the still mattering thing was Ishii was fresh off of a 1-2 stint in the PFL, losing twice before going over to Ryzen to get his ass handed to him by Jay Kuhn, who is now basically trying to fight for honey buns in an Australian prison.
Yeah, that's why I thought he wasn't under contract with PFL still. I thought he was cut or whatever. So that's interesting to hear that he was under contract still. Even coming off a couple losses, it's still significant to me. That shows they're open to collaboration in the future. So to me, that's fantastic news, to be honest with you.
I don't know if you remember that, but Satoshi Ishii appeared at Rising 20 in official PFL fight shorts, so it can mean something.
Yes, I do remember that. I do remember he was wearing those dingy gray fight shorts.
Still, that's pretty. That shows a collaboration. Even a subtle little thing like that shows the. I mean, to me, it shows that their willingness to collaborate. Who knows? We'll see. Look, Ray Seppo just recently in an interview said he is open to bringing back the one-night GP playoffs, meaning they have to fight more than once in the night, twice in the same night to advance in the playoffs. So it would make sense that he'd also be open to doing collaboration with Ryzen still and keep that going, since that was also one of the it's clearly really fun. Okay, the fans, I mean, even to answer your first question, Jay Krish, no, I don't hold it against Bellator because it was just bad luck being snake bit by injuries of why that card and the 10-second eye poke or 25-second eye poke, whatever. It's just bad luck. Otherwise, that card on paper was an absolute banger. They put together a fantastic card for the Japanese fans that just got snake bit by bad luck, and that's all. But I mean, to regards to the potential buyout. This news about Satoshi still being under contract and also pointing out the fact he was wearing PFL shorts while making an appearance at Ryzen leads me to believe that they're open in the future to collaboration, and we might still get some collaboration even if the buyout goes through. They might continue these storylines that are building. Like right now, we're just talking about it with the Pitbull brothers, Patricky and Kleber, potentially building into a storyline, into a clash in the future, a fantastic crossover bout. So even if they get picked up by PFL, because remember, Patricky was tweeting about how he's also thinking about the future matchups in PFL. So even if they get picked up by PFL, there's still a potential there that they could continue these collaboration super fight storylines as well and have those bouts in the future. So, I mean, it just the future's looking bright, gentlemen. I'm telling you, it's the fun is awesome.
I can only hope so.
The last thing about the potential PFL buyout or BFL Bellator buyout by PFL is that don't forget who Ray Seppo was as the competitor, as a kickboxer, and where he used to fighting. This is the one thing, and this is just my expectations and predictions how it might look like. We don't know the details yet. We don't know any things about the potential buyout. They should announce it this month, but we don't know yet if it will happen this month, and we don't know Actually, nothing. So we are waiting for how the things will look like. This is
Yeah,
the this
no,
is the
we're
end.
just speculating. We're just speculating, dreaming out loud, basically, and saying, things that we think could happen, or would want to see happen, or whatever. So it's all in fun. It's all rumors and stuff till then, till it actually happens, like you're saying. So
Yeah, of course, of course. But still, though, point of the matter is, what were y'all overall thoughts about the Bellator portion before we move on? Like, if y'all were to give it a grade scale of something from 1 to 10, what would y'all give the Bellator portion at Super Rising 2?
To be honest, I'm not very enthusiastic about the how it worked out for Bellator, and in my opinion, it would be the rate would be kind of low. It would be 3 to 3.5, and that's all.
Wow, very Russian judge of you.
If Kana Watanabe saves your show, it does not look like very good. To be honest, despite a couple of really good things, couple bright things like that Magomedov's guillotine and Kana's performance, but I was really disappointed, and these things can't stop my whole disappointing feeling about the first part, because I had a really high expectations and it worked out very bad.
I see. And JayWolf, what say you?
I'm gonna give it a 5, right in the middle, because look, on paper, before the bad luck injuries happened, okay, it was fantastic. It was a really fantastic card, and then just some bad string of bad luck injuries happened, and then culminating with if that flyweight title fight would have happened, that got a 10-second, 25-second eye poke that ruined it. If that had not happened and the actual flyweight title fight had happened, it probably would have been freaking awesome, as we all expect, and it would have we wouldn't even be talking about this. It'd be like, everybody like, oh man, that's all we were talking about is how awesome the flyweight title fight was. In addition to, like Danny was saying, Tiger Magomedov's fantastic submission of Danny Sabatello. So I don't want to take it down too far on the scale, because again, it wasn't their fault. It was just bad luck, because originally the card was going to be fantastic, and then also even on fight night, still there was the flyweight title fight that should have delivered, but just got taken away from us because of bad luck. So that's all. I'm going to give it a 5.
Understood. That's very generous from you, JayWolf. I would give it a 4.5. Especially
Nice.
considering the fact that the fight had so much late notice about it. Especially considering the fact that, let's face it, it all was ruined for me when AJ McKee was announced that he was out due to a staph infection. It basically ruined the whole card for me, because everybody was wondering, oh, the dude who came out with the Sasuke outfit, the Black Samurai Warrior outfit, like, what's he gonna do for an encore? How much money is he gonna invest into his outfit? And more importantly, how was he gonna do against a familial foe in Patricky Pitbull, after basically dealing with so much shit from Patricio Pitbull over the years? But we unfortunately didn't get that for the time being, and we're gonna have to wait until Homeboy heals up in order to, see that match come to fruition. That is, if Patricky doesn't get a full-blown run with the lightweight title again. But still, though, that card just felt a little bit off. Like, if you're gonna bring your top stars to fight in Japan for, if not a new audience, an audience who understands what y'all are basically putting on, because let's face it, Japan has a big love affair with Bellator dating back to when the whole thing started, when the Rising Fighting Federation started back on December 29th, 2015. We all remember well, us being me and JayWolf remember the Bellator. The Bellator commentary crew doing live or same day commentary of the Rizin's first two shows in a compilation, right?
Yeah. Oh, you talking about the first Bellator Japan?
Not the first Bellator Japan.
You're talking about Breakfast with Fedor.
Yeah.
Or the Breakfast with Fedor one. That was like that was like the next day. They like replayed it like during the middle of the day on like it was like a baffling decision. I don't understand why they did that to this day, but still, that was actually was a really cool event. And like Jay Chris was saying, they had some announcers that were there, but they recorded it later. But whatever, it was still a pretty badass event. I thought you were talking about the Bellator Japan one with the post.
Yeah, but it can also translate toward the Bellator Japan show they did in 2019 as well. Even though the post limbs should have been done in full, so everybody can see them over here as opposed to it being exclusive to just Japan.
And you know what Teep says about those? He said that was the pilot episode to the Rizin Landmark series now of them doing the cages events. So that was the Bellator postlims were like the pilot episode or the catalyst to those the Rizin cage series events.
But still, though, continuing my thought, and then we'll move on. I just think that when it comes down to, because the Japanese, as we've known for about 6.5 decades now, they're not stupid. They're not dumb. They basically know what we do before we even get up. And they are like 13 hours away from my time zone. They're 13 hours ahead of my time zone, 15 hours ahead of you, JayWolf.
Yeah.
So they know what the fuck. They know what the fuck we're doing before we get up out of bed.
Yeah, it's like almost a whole day ahead of us.
Yeah, exactly. But still, though, when it comes down to the people that Bellator brought over, you're not gonna tell me that Danny Sabatello is gonna get the crowd in Japan riled up just by saying, "Oh, come see this fucking pay-per-view. I'm a badass."
Well, he was doing a lot of he was doing a lot of pre-fight videos. I don't know if you saw in the lead up to the fight or in the lead up to the event. He was all over social media doing short clips and videos and stuff for both promotions. Twitter handles, both or X handles, whichever you want to call it. He was doing both for the Bellator.
I'm not calling it X. Fuck Elon Musk.
We'll call it Twitter then for you. So he was doing videos for Bellator's Twitter and Rizin's Twitter, and they were getting lots of likes too. I don't know if you saw the numbers that he was getting, but the Japanese fans, they were digging his pre-fight hype and build up and trash talking and stuff. So
that's because they loved what he brought to the table. But you're not gonna basically explain to me that over here on this side of the Pacific, Danny Sabatello was gonna be a ratings getter. As far as he can bring people in with his popularity, but as we saw in the fight against Tiger Magomedov, he got choked out. Like, you're not going to tell me that this guy, Sabatello, brings in the ratings. That's like fucking saying Shibatar is going to be a top star in this country just because he basically does the same shit Jake Paul does.
Well, you're holding the Tiger Magomedov loss against him. Tiger Magomedov's a fantastic bantamweight, so that was just, basically it's an elite level loss for Sabatello. So he'll be back to the drawing board, and he just better start adding some strikes on the ground. I want to see some elbows when he gets them down because he's a fantastic wrestler. He's got some of the best grappling in the game for at bantamweight. So, just need to add some elbows and strikes, and he should be money to back up that trash talk, and lead his opponents in a bloody pulp and stuff. And that would go good with his, trash talking and brashness. So we'll see what happens in the future, but I think you're holding too much against him for the Tiger Magomedov loss. Tiger Magomedov's a great fighter, bro. He's elite. So he's elite level. The only guy that he got taken out by Patchy Mix the only guy that beat Patchy Mix is the current Rising champion, Juan Archuleta. So I mean, it's all high level fighters all the way around here.
Of course. But still, though, my point is, I think Bellator should have bought. I mean, I understand they had 5 fights to work with, and they also were basically going against the grain, dealing with a stacked combat sports night that evening with a UFC pay-per-view. I think, no, a UFC pay-per-view, the Crawford Spence pay-per-view in Vegas, and AEW Collision on TNT. But other than that, basically, they were behind the 8 ball, but they still could have bought a better lineup instead of what we got, even though, of course, they had to cater to the international fight fan, the casual fight fan, and the Japanese fight fan all in one. But they basically got the 5 fights.
You're being too harsh on the card. Koreshkov Larkin was supposed to be a banger, right? We thought it was going to be a striker's delight. We didn't know it was going to turn into a grappling match, and Koreshkov was going to fight like that, fight smart and fight how he needed to actually get the win against a good striker like Larkin, and wrestle him the whole time. We didn't know that was going to happen. And then same with Kana's fight. We didn't know it was going to be, we thought it was going to be more of a banger than that. And then of course we didn't know that was going to happen with Shinryu and Gucci. So I mean, I think you guys are being too harsh on the card here. I thought they put a good card on paper. It just had bad luck happen to it. That's it. It was a snake bit.
I mean, I can understand that. I mean, I'm not gonna give Bellator. I'm not gonna basically bash Bellator for not trying. At least they did put together a solid 5-fight card that basically was great to their liking. Sorry for the flub, but still, no. I just think they could have done better than the 5 fights that they put out there.
Oh well, we'll see what the future brings. Like Daniel was saying earlier, there's an event on 9/24 that's in the ring. That is a potential. Remember on Jim Ozecki's podcast with Instant Inoue? Jim is another fan in the Rising Discord. On his podcast with Ensign, they were saying how that could potentially be a collaboration event as well, and also potentially the October landmark event, since it's going to be a bundled package on Fight TV. They could potentially load up those cards with some collaboration bouts on there. So, I mean, maybe they're going to come with Bellator is going to bring some more heat next time. I mean, let's just see what the future brings.
Of course. I mean, and one more thing I'll basically say about Bellator. I mean, give them credit for basically putting out incredible cards, even on shoestring budgets, even though you got the mind of Scott Coker at work. But they need a better job at promoting this shit. I mean, when you got Juan Archuleta going on television, on major American daytime television, even though it was pre-taped because of the damn writer strike, which is now the writers, actors, and directors strike. But still, when you got Juan Archuleta going on national television trying to sell your event with another promotion, something's up. Because that was the only piece of promotion on this side of the Pacific that we ended up getting for that event. I mean, I think Bellator need to whether it's Bellator or for that matter, the PFL, because they're about to leave ESPN to potentially go to Fox Sports or something like that.
Is that the rumors? They're going to go to Fox Sports? I was thinking, what if they
might. I mean, let's tone it down a bit. They might go to Fox Sports because Fox Sports basically has a whole. Basically, they have a gaping hole left behind from the UFC that just needs to be filled with combat sports content. Because if you can see, they ain't posting any Premier Boxing Champions cards on the regular like they've been doing since the pandemic, or like they've been doing since the whole thing started back in 2014. But do you
think Showtime and Paramount are out of the running for to land PFL?
I mean, I think they still in the running, but again, this is only a rumor. I I mean, I think that regardless of whoever the promotion is now, whether it be Bellator or PF Elator, I mean, they need to do a better job with promoting their product,
Yeah, and you know
especially
what?
considering.
Yeah, if
Mhm.
PFL does buy them out, don't worry. You see how the PFL they like pull like a Shotri style marketing campaign and over market their guys like Shotri from one championship, acting like billions of
Oh
people are
my
watching
God.
it, and so they do that kind of promoting and stuff. So they'll definitely, if the buyout happens, and I was just wondering if that could be part of the buyout. If they absorb Bellator, maybe they also, since they're leaving ESPN, like you're saying, maybe they move on over to Showtime. Showtime runs pay-per-views as well for boxing, so it makes sense that they would do. You know, who is the pay-per-view provider that Tyson Fury is with? That's who Ngannou's boxing. So I mean, that's not
Tyson
Showtime.
Fury is with Questenberry Promotions and is promoted by Top Rank. So unfortunately, that fight will end up being on ESPN Plus in the United States.
Oh, okay. So then, but the other ones, you know, because PFL said they're going to pay-per-view format, right? They're going to have their season format as well, and also do pay-per-view super fight cards, basically, right? So, I mean, Showtime is already a platform that has a pay-per-view company. I don't know. I just, with the rumors of the buyout, I could see that being a landing place for PFL, especially if they buy Bellator's roster and you know, and they would definitely infuse some you know promotion like you're wanting, Jay Krish. I mean, look at how well they've been promoting Ngannou and all that's happened with him. You know, so I mean, it's I just can't wait to see what the future brings. It's exciting. And Daniel, you know, I wanted to ask you, so while I'm thinking about it, you also brought up some news about a new rumor news about the New Year's Eve potential mega events and potential mega events. Two of them, you said it could potentially be one to be a Bellator cage event, like another Bellator Japan, and then have, you know, rising guys on that as well, and then also then on New Year's Eve be a Rising in the Ring superior rule set event with Bellator guys in there as well. And is that like where did you hear that rumor, or is, how substantial of a rumor is that one? Because that's the first time hearing of it, and I love it.
I saw it on Twitter, and it was like a couple months ago, maybe several months ago. It was maybe at the beginning of the year. I'm not sure, to be honest. But there was some preview from the Bellator side that they will be back in Japan at the end of the year. But it was but that was long before the Super Rising show. So we don't
Okay.
know if it's still on the table or they have just changed their plans, and right now it's not a thing anymore. We don't know yet, but I would wish for the another Bellator Japan show, because to be honest, in 2019 that show with post limbs was the best thing that Bellator did with Rising, you know, as a one show. They couldn't, you know, repeat that exciting show. I know that the post limbs from Bellator Japan is kind of like a lost media, but I can say it because I saw it live. I was at the
Nice.
arena, of course, and it was really nice show. And I think that this is the best thing that Bellator and Ryzen made together as a show. I'm not talking about, you know, single matchups.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So as a show as a whole, I mean, because the collaboration between Bellator and Rise, I'm absolutely with you. That's one of the most exciting, most fun, if not the most best thing happening in mixed martial arts right now. It's just awesome. You know, it makes these events Pride Bushido level for me. Of course, you know, Pride Bushidos were the focus on the lighter weight classes. That's how these collaboration events feel to me. And you know, like you're saying with the Bellator Japan event, and you were there live, so you got to see the post limb. limbs even, and because I mean they were culminated with you saw Yachi having a soccer kick finish in the cage to finish those belt the post limbs that were unaired. So you got to see that live. That's awesome. So, and how about this? We know that Bellator has a fantastic international. They put on excellent international events in Europe, and arguably better than the UFC does, in my opinion, because the UFC gives them like one fight, maybe two fights. Bellator gives them loads up the cards with top 10 fighters in there and title fights and stuff, and they take care of their international fans. So, and also with the PFL buyout rumors, remember PFL is looking to expand and do international, so they're already doing like international, like Euro Series tournaments and stuff, right? And with the Ngannou signing, remember Ngannou, he's supposed to be part of his the contract that he was signing for was that he's going to be the brand ambassador in Africa and take PFL into Africa and do a series in there. So if the buyout does happen, I could definitely see them doing building on the work that Bellator and Scotty Cokes and them have done in Japan and making like a PFL Japan type of thing. Maybe possibly even could that happen by the end of the year for this New Year's year for this year's New Year's Eve? Could that happen? I mean, who knows? That we'll see what the future brings. But I mean, it's just I think it's exciting, Daniel. I mean, just all this stuff that we're talking about right now. This is awesome. This is like stuff happening right now, dude. That I mean, this is. Man, I keep telling you guys, this is a new golden era. I'm having so much fun. Just even talking about it with you guys. This is freaking awesome.
As far as I know, we don't know any things about the potential buyout, and right now it's like only our expectations and the predictions how it can look like. And right now we are floating very far on our things and comments, and if we will know any details, we can expect we can make our expectations about the future collaboration. If it will take place, I can agree it will be really exciting thing, but right now we don't know nothing. So simply we have to just wait and see how the things will do.
Exactly. Now, y'all want to go ahead and talk about the Super Rising card?
Absolutely. This was one of the best things of the night to happen on this card across all combat sports. That's on the weekend with Spence Crawford and the UFC pay-per-view as well. What arguably the best moment or a best fight or knockout finish, whatever you want to call it, happened on this Super Rising card. And of course, you all know what I'm talking about when I talk about that one. I don't know if you want to start with that one, Jay Krish, or you want to go straight from the card from the bottom and all the way up to the top, or I don't know. How do you want to do that?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and run down the results first.
Okay, yes, Ron. Go ahead.
First off, 128-pound catch weight. Yuki Ito defeated Hiroya Kondo, Asakura Action teammate Hiroya Kondo via split decision. But it wasn't basically without trying for Hiroya, because he basically fought like he was worth the damn. Like his record wasn't close to 500. But still, though, enough about all that. Let's move on. In the first middleweight MMA fight for Rising since December 29th, 2015, Igor Fat Ninja Tanabe submitted Daichi Abe, UFC and damned one championship veteran, via heel hook, 4 minutes 34 seconds. And oh, by the way, he gave not only myself but Andrew a shout out, because he basically said in the post-fight interview, "Oh, I want to thank all my American friends and my Japanese and Brazilian fans." I think that's what he said during the whole little presser. But still,
did he name drop the We Are Rising podcast? Did he name drop you guys? Oh, darn.
He didn't name drop us, but in a way, him saying shout out to my American friends,
yeah,
it
definitely
felt
talking
like
about you
that
guys.
it felt like that he mentioned us in a way. which I
Absolutely.
love because it basically gave me a little bit of a pop, so to speak. hmm Anyways, moving on. Bantamweights. Olympics, no, 2016 Olympic silver medal Greco-Roman wrestler Shinobu Ota proved that, hey, wrestlers have hands too, as he knocked out Kenta Takizawa with 6 seconds left in the first round via TKO. But it wasn't without controversy because Kenta Takizawa basically leaned his head out of the damn ropes, causing really a forfeit on his end. But if you basically have your hands down and you're getting socked in the face by an Olympian, yeah, chances are I'd give up too. Because that battle wasn't worth fighting anymore. Let's believe. Anyways, lightweights. Tofik Musayev returned to the superior rules set after a 2-year absence, knocking out former lightweight King of Pancrase champion Akira the Gorilla Okada via knockout punches, 1 minute 11 seconds of round number 2. And in the catchweight bout that we're going to talk about in due time, in a little bit of time actually, Chihiro Suzuki knocked out Patricio Pitbull in a special 154-pound catchweight bout where both men came in on very, 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 very short notice. 2 minutes, 32 seconds, round 1. Now, as far as the title bouts are concerned, international fighters went 2-1 on this 3-fight portion of the Super Rising card. Of course, Sekizawa choked out Claire Lopez via ninja choke submission 66 seconds into the fight to retain the Rising Women's Super Atomweight World title. Juan Archuleta basically bored everybody and damn near put everybody to sleep, but still beat Hiromasa Ogikubo via unanimous decision to not only win the Rising Bantamweight World title, but become the first American winner of anything major in Rising since King Mo back in 2015, of course. And what Tofik couldn't do 2 years ago, Vugar Karamov did in submitting Mikuru Asakura via rear naked choke 2 minutes 41 seconds of round number 1 to become the first ever Rising World Champion from Azerbaijan and the 4th ever Rising Featherweight World Champion, which basically gave the Rising Brass all this buzz about doing an event in Azerbaijan, which will most likely feature not just Vugar, but Tofik on that card, even if Vugar is in a non-title bout. But still, though, I know you, JayWolf, you want to talk about Chihiro versus Patricio. Let's have it.
You know me well. Oh my goodness, that was the upset of the new of this modern MMA era right here. That was so freaking awesome. I was shouting at like 3 a.m, whatever it was. It was just that was the biggest upset. I mean, look, we were even saying on Teep's preview show, saying, hey, you guys got to watch out for this kid, Chihiro. This kid is a kickboxing crossover. He's got excellent striking. He's young. He's a hungry fighter. He's only 24 years old. He's a hungry striker fighter. Okay, Patricio has got to be ready for this, even though it's on short notice. This kid he's a good fighter, right? And now everybody knows. Okay, everybody knows now. You know, I was upset at the UFC media because I thought that they didn't cover this enough, in my opinion. I thought it was a much bigger deal.
Outside of us, they didn't cover this enough.
No, I'm talking about the UFC media. I'm talking about the all like the MMA junkie and well, I shouldn't say it, they have the best coverage probably out of anybody, but like like Bloody Elbow and all of them and MMA Fighting and all those that are supposed to be, they're really just, you know, they churn out the UFC pieces. That's, I mean, let's be honest, and they barely give us any crumb.
I mean, to be honest, James, you can't knock what Bloody Elbow does, especially after leaving the bureaucracy known as Box Media, SB Nation, because
I guess, but I
outside,
mean,
yeah,
I
outside of the
guess.
Kareem Zidane pieces and the John S. Nash pieces about financial situations, it's a big question mark.
Yeah, it's just too many UFC pieces because you know what, they're trying to protect their press passes to the UFC events and stuff like that. That's it. So, but it just I just felt that this upset of this magnitude, Chihiro Suzuki, a kickboxing crossover, knocking out for the first time in his career Patricio pound for pound Pitbull. This was, I mean, it was huge. Do you remember back when and when Bjorn Rebney was running Bellator? Remember when Eduardo Dantes, their bantamweight champion, took a fight in a regional Brazilian promotion to get some extra coin, and he fought Tyson Nam and got knocked out by Tyson Nam. That was dude, wall to wall coverage, okay? Because they were using it to crap on Bellator's brand, right? And you know, and they didn't even give it a tenth of that this time for an even of the 10 times bigger. I mean, Patricio pound for pound Pitbull had a much deeper history than what Eduardo Dantes had at the time. And you know why they didn't cover it as good, Jay Krish and Daniel?
Why?
I'll tell you exactly why. Because Chihiro Suzuki is an Epic Rising fighter. It was absolutely fantastic for the Epic Rising brand. It was fantastic for Chihiro Suzuki. And I mean, that's what they just didn't want to give any props to the Epic Rising brand because we have the superior rule set that puts on better action than UFC, and the UFC media don't want to give us any kind of props or anything because they're worried they're going to lose their press passes and they're UFC fanboy dingalings for the UFC brand. So that's just what it comes down to. But it was just, I mean, and to be fair to the fans, like Just Bleed fan in the Rising Discord, there were articles that were written, okay, and they did talk about it, even if it were just 5 minutes on the shows that, you know, like Luke Thomas's show and stuff. They did talk about it even for a short while, so it's better than nothing. I just feel like I want it more, okay, for an upset of this magnitude. I just want it more, and you know, especially for the post-fight drama that happened. And you know, this new budding rivalry between the Pitbull brothers, Jim and Bonsai, Jim in Japan, and just, you know, and it's like reminiscent of the Almighty Pride FC with Wanderlei Silva and Charles Crazy Horse Bennett and all that stuff. To me, it deserved more attention. It deserved more than what it got. But at the same time, to be fair to JBF, Just Bleed fan, and all of them, it did get some coverage and some articles. I just think it should have. I think it warranted more, to be honest with you. It was just so freaking awesome. And this fight with Chihiro Suzuki and Patricio pound for pound Pitbull, this was the rabbit that they pulled out of the hat, the magician trick, the magic trick that Sakaki Barasan and Scotty Cokes pulled together at the last minute to put on this card because it was so snake bit with injury. That this fight alone, like basically saved the card, basically, and it provided the moment of the weekend, in my opinion, even with Spence Crawford and the UFC pay-per-view. This moment with Chihiro Suzuki knocking out pound for pound king Pitbull, that was the moment of the combat sports moment of the weekend, in my opinion. I just loved it so much. I'm so happy for Chihiro and for the Epic Rising brand. It's just so freaking awesome. I can talk a lot about it for hours, bro. It was just, I just loved it so much. It was awesome. I can't wait for the rematch too.
What I would like
Daniel,
what I would like to say about that fight, it's so different than Satoshi against Patricky fight because the conditions were equal for both sides. Both sides
Yes.
took that fight on a short notice. Both they are both usually featherweights. They stepped up as lightweights, and they weren't on any camp. We don't know about yet. They hadn't any fight scheduled. So as I said before, the conditions were equal for both for Chihiro and Patricio. And right now, We have very interesting situation because Patricia is a fighter who won with Clever. Clever is a guy who won very easily with Chihiro, and this result makes the things even more exciting right now in the featherweight divisions, both both in Ryzen and Bellator.
Absolutely, 100%. Also, Daniel, just to piggyback and add to your point about how they were equal coming into this bout. Not only were they both on the short notice, but also they were both coming off of losses, right? Patricio Pitbull came off the loss of Sergio Pettis recently, and Chihiro Suzuki recently came off the loss, like you were saying, to Kleber Koike for the championship. Both were coming off title losses and going into that bout off the same exact short notice replacement time. So it was absolutely equal. So you can't say it was, something, you can't use that to try to dismiss this victory for Chihiro. And Patricio's not even trying to do that. He's totally all these saying it was congratulating Chihiro, saying what a fantastic win that is for him, and they already were talking about to each other about the rematch happening. Patricio was saying there's nobody more deserving, and just talking all fit and nice. And Chihiro was also very cordial and nice back to him, saying, let's run this back again with a full camp for you. So just being totally cool about it, and just. I mean, it was just, man, it was fantastic. And I just want to keep, for that point that Daniel was making, that they both came to this bout on equal terms.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Are you? I didn't know. I thought you were switching on that. You wanted to move on to the next fight. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to quit talking right as you were.
No. We can basically talk about this fight until the cows come home. But now that you mentioned it, when it comes down to the fights not named, Chihiro Suzuki versus Patricio Pitbull Fury, which fight did you think overwhelmed you the most? Especially considering the fact that Ryzen had 7 other fights to choose from on this card.
Daniel, you want to go first? Go ahead, Daniel.
Go ahead.
Okay, for me personally, it was Sika Izawa. Sika Izawa was in a collaboration super fight as well. It just, instead of with Bellator, it was with Combate Global. Claire Lopez was a Combate Global fighter that had earned her title shot against Sika Izawa by submitting Reina Kubota, our striker queen Reina, with a sensational knee bar at the previous Ryzen Landmark event in the cage. And that's how she'd earned her shot at Sika Izawa. And it was a fantastic collaboration super fight, title fight. And also Combate Global had also a couple weeks ago or a month or so ago had also run a Japan versus Combate Global card themselves, where they were having Japanese fighters versus Combate Global fighters, and they'd even said on some of their shows, they were talking about how, they were talking about how this was a continuation of that, about how it was, Japan versus Combate Global. So they were even hyping it up as a collaboration super fight. So just going into this bout, it was a lot of fun, and Sika Izawa, we've been raving about her for the longest time. I call her Superstar Flower, not just Star Flower. She's Superstar Flower now, and her performance, finish, first round finish of a crossover a foreign fighter, a crossover collaboration super fighter that earned her shot at the title, just finished with the quickness, with a ninja choke in sensational fashion, is reminiscent of John Jones versus Lyoto Machida, where John Jones choked out Lyoto Machida, and then as he let him go, just dropped his lifeless body to the ground, produced a sensational looking highlight, even though the John Jones move was like considered a dick move because he just dropped his lifeless body. Sika Izawa had her choked out had Claire Lopez choked out and then only released her when the ref came in there to release her, and she didn't know that she was out. So she let her go thinking that the fight was over, but she was out completely. So Claire Lopez fell back real violently, and it just produced a fantastic highlight. Just like I said, reminiscent of the Juicer Jones Machida one, but without pulling the dick move of dropping a lifeless body. It was naturally naturally a badass highlight like that without the dick move part to it. It was just, I just thought Sika Izawa I can't wait to see her fight again. I think they should call up some Invicta fighters, maybe do a cross collaboration title fight with the Invicta champion right now. I mean, I think that would be fantastic. As you know, Invicta is the
basically
American...
mean you want to see Sika Izawa versus Ayan Dos Santos, right?
Sure. Or Lionheart Jill, if they don't want to send over their champion to you know what I mean. If they want to preserve their champion for the title fights in Invicta, send over Lionheart Jill, the most recent. She was the previous champion in Izawa's weight class, and they even have a little bit of heat there too. If you remember when Izawa, this was talked about before, when Lionheart Jill was the champion of Invicta, and she was saying, oh, well then Izawa's going to come over here because Izawa is the B side, I'm the A side, right? So there's a little bit of talking history.
I remember her talking about that with myself and Andrew Benjamin.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of built-in history and storyline right there. So I mean, something like that, like a former champion from Invicta, that'd be a fantastic next bout for Sika. Or they could bring in some whoever else they want. It's fine. I mean, I can't wait to see Sika fight again. She's I want to mention this too. She's also the only Ryzen representative of anything to get mentioned at the quote unquote World MMA Awards. She was nominated for the best female fighter category, which is a big deal, I think. I mean, because these quote unquote World MMA Awards don't even recognize Ryzen as promotion of the year, even though Ryzen is selling out 20,000 seat stadiums. Like this event that we're talking about right here sold 25,000 seats. Okay, it was sold out in Saitama, and that's not even mentioning that they're also a pay-per-view viable company. Who knows how many pay-per-views they got at $50 a pop in Japan, $20 a pop here in America and internationally. So I mean,
but the thing is,
those award shows are just UFC fluff awards. That's it. But Sika got to get nominated.
Is about the World MMA Awards, they're just basically. As we know, they're just basically a dick tugging contest, so to speak. Like who basically can get pulled the hardest.
Yeah.
Basic. I mean, I know that's kind of an offensive term, but still, though, when it comes down to those,
it's true. It's true. And the only reason I was bringing them up is just because Sika was nominated. That's it.
Yeah, so, I know, and they were the only thing. I mean, they were. Outside of a fight, I think in Ryzen that was nominated for like comeback of the year or something, Seika was the only person or personality from Ryzen that was represented in the World MMA Awards. But as far as
it's a shame,
Ryzen
it's a shame. It should be Sakaki Bara-san should be there. The promotion itself, Ryzen, should be nominated. Other fighters as well should be not besides just Sika. So I mean, I don't. That's why I say put quotation marks when I say the World Awards. So, but anyways, the point was that I was answering your question, Jay Krish, that Sika Izawa and Claire Lopez, that collaboration super fight. Ryzen versus Kabate Global. That was my other favorite bout besides Chihiro Suzuki and pound for pound Pitbull collaboration super fight. All right, Daniel, now it's your turn. I want to hear what you think was the other best fight on this card besides Chihiro Suzuki.
You said a word about Seika Izawa's performance, so I would like to just have a couple of words about this. I would like to say that this was the perfect ninja choke. There's no doubt that she's right now number one in Japan, in Asia overall. And I would like to ask, what's next for her, because you said something about this and I'm totally agree about this, that Rising should should bring some Invicta fighters once again right now, or make a third match with CU Park. After that, she will appear at the Deep Jewels anniversary show. If she will win, most probably she will win. They should, if they won't have any challenges from abroad, so from Invicta for Seika Izawa, they should totally make a third fight with Park. And you know, a year ago I had some kind of impression that super atomweight will have a new boost because of there are some new faces that they are beating on old faces, like Park won with Rena, and stuff like this, and right now it's like some kind of right now it's in the same place as it's been a year ago. It's not progressing right now. The action in the super atomweight division, no new faces. It's like I know that there are some political things that Shingo was hinting about it during the Q&A sessions with Drake Riggs. And right now I'm really curious what's the idea for that for that category in the heads of Shingo and Sakakibara, and just ending the topic of the women's fight. I would like to make some speech about the fight that opened the Rising's part. Yuki Ito, that who won with Hiroya after the split decision, after the 3-rounder, and besides of the co-main event Archuleta Ogikubo, it was the only decision, but it was action-packed. Both guys had their own respective game plans. It was really entertaining fights, despite the Hiroya was going all over for the takedown, but Yuki had his takedown defense on a very high level. In that fight, he was trying to take a control on this fight, and first and foremost he did some damage to Hiroya, who seemed like a one-dimensional fighter in that fight. And Ito, in my opinion, earned a very well-deserved win. And it was like it was my comment on the Twitter that fight was better than any on the first part. Yeah, I'm still harsh about the Bellator, but I was really disappointed, and this fight was much better than everything that we saw that night. And yeah, this is the a bit I would like to say underrated matchup, and it was one of the last matchups from what I remember added to that card, and it was definitely hot shot by a Ryzen matchmakers.
I
100%,
see.
Daniel.
I see. Well, the fight that interested me the most was definitely the lone middleweight bout, and I know it's kind of a rarity because. Hold on a sec. No, wait, actually. It was because I feel like I'm about to burp at any second. So please
Mute the mic.
bear warning. Excuse me. But still don't. the fight that got me interested the most about this card was the lone middleweight bout. And I know that's not really a thing that would normally be said about Ryzen because they have not had a middleweight bout on their fight card, even though they had 4 in total from many different combat disciplines since they started back on December 29th, 2015. But this was only their second MMA fight in that particular weight class. Obviously, Anatoly Tolkov versus AJ Matthews was the first fight. And obviously, the second fight was Igor Fat Ninja Tanabe versus Daichi Abe. And I was definitely interested in that fight because of the fact that ever since Igor Tanabe stepped foot into mixed martial arts the first time, dude's been a monster. Dude's basically been tearing it up left, right, and center, basically making everybody tap out in 1 round or probably less. I mean, his last fight was against, before this obviously, was against the legendary Melvin No Mercy Manoff. They have to think something is up with this man. This man is, going to be a future legend. But when I seen him fight against Daichi Abe, and he predicted to both me and Andrew on our separate podcast, me on this Very Focused Fights audio, me on this Very Focused Fights YouTube channel, Andrew on the We Are Rising podcast YouTube channel, he predicted first round submission. He being Igor Tanabe, and he didn't disappoint. Because I think that when it comes down to this man and what he has, with making predictions like that, with basically beating up opponents and tearing them down, probably even before the fight starts, knowing that they're doomed, and him getting easy, quick, fast submissions, relying on his BJJ game. I mean, the sky's the limit for Igor Tanabe. It just sucks that Ryzen doesn't have the full-blown division that they could, help him achieve in. Because in order for him to have to improve on, being one of the top 185 pounders in the world, he's gonna have to go elsewhere. He's gonna have to go find a way to get into the octagon and find a way to face off against, potentially Leon Rocky Edwards, or maybe even, Israel Adesanya, even though we all know the result of that fight before it even happens. But still, though, I think Igor Tanabe, if he continues his
Jay Krish, I think your connection is going. Daniel, are you still there?
Yes, definitely. I'm still there.
Okay. Yeah, Jay Krish, your audio is messed up, bro. Your audio is messed up, bro. Here, Daniel. You were talking about the first bout. I also wanted to follow up on what you were saying as well, since that was.
Wait a minute. So
okay, there you go. Yes, now we can hear you. Sorry. Your connection went terrible for a second, so I just tried to save it real quick, but you're back now.
Basically, what I was saying was that if Igor Tanabe continues his trajectory, continues what he's been doing, continues tapping people out in a round, maybe 2, we could see him potentially be one of the best 170 to 185 pounders in the world one day. And that's just basically me saying that as a spoiler.
Oh, nice. And maybe if the PFL continues doing collaboration like Bellator is doing, we could see him against the PFL guys that are at that weight class. So, he doesn't have to leave to go like the UFC or whatever. He could still, fight some elite level fighters, especially if the PFL goes through the buyout. But Daniel, what I want to talk to you about with the Yuki Ito and Hiroya Kondo fight, That was the after the Bellator flyweight title fight fell through because of the eye poke. This was the only other flyweight bout on the card, right? And we saw how action packed this was. Like you were saying, total. I mean, just a 180 from the Bellator card. It just put you right back into the great spirits. And if you remember, this fight also had some grounded knees in it. So I mean, you know, that's you know what's doing that? What brought the event back to the awesomeness from the Bellator portion being snake bit was the superior rule set awesomeness. That's what did it, gentlemen. That's what it was. Just want to make sure to get that point out there. That I mean, and also that it was the flyweight bout. And I wanted to ask you, Daniel, in any of these sessions with Drake Riggs and Shingo-san, Sakakibara-san's right-hand man, did they discuss anything about a flyweight Grand Prix? Because I didn't hear anything. I was listening, but I didn't listen to the whole entire thing. I don't know if you heard anything about that.
Nothing directly about the flyweight Grand Prix so far.
Okay.
And there's still, you know, consider lots of things, but if they will do something, they have to do it in September, because there won't be any ringed show till the December, the New Year's Eve. So if they want to do any Grand Prix, they have to do it in September. If there won't be any ladder, any, you know, any Grand Prix, any tournament, there won't be anything this year. And it looks like this. But what I wanted to say more, there's a big question mark, because hasn't Igor Tanabe said that he's able to drop to the welterweight?
Oh, did he? Did he? I didn't know that. I thought he was. You know, Fat Ninja.
Yeah.
I did not hear that he could make welterweight. That's interesting.
If he is able to do this, I think that it would be better for Rising, because they won't have to create the new division from scratch. Because as we know, it was the second official middleweight fight in their history. If Fat Ninja will be more skinnier and will be able to just drop to welterweight, I think it will be better for him and for the whole division, because you know, Shingo can match him up with guys like you know, Keitaro, Kichi, even Sumimura at the second rate. And I would like to say that it definitely wasn't an easy fight for Igor Tanabe, because he got beat up, and it was a really good comeback from his side. Abe made a big mistake that he left his leg for the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu master like Igor Tanabe, and it was his big mistake. I think that if Tanabe will take next opponents, the next opponents will be fully aware about his abilities, and they will be more smart than Igor Tanabe. Than Daichi Abe in his fight with Tanabe, and we will see how Tanabe's magical Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills will work out, because he seems to be a bit one-dimensional, but still. The big question mark is if he will be sticking with middleweight or he will drop to welterweight. I think he said it in an interview with Andrew, from what I remember. I'm not sure
nice.
about this, but if so, it would be very interesting alternative path for Tanabe, and as I said before, better for Rising, because they have already welterweight division.
Yes. Also, Daniel, I wanted to ask you as well to add to that. Could you also see them not to beefing up that division. If Fat Ninja Igor is not able to make the welterweight limit, could you see them bolstering that division, bringing in international fighters, say in the Azerbaijani card, right? They're going to be close to you guys there in Eastern Europe, and they're going to be close to like the Russian zones, like Dagestan and all those places where they got Khabib's camp. Could you see them bringing in heavier guys at the 185-pound divisions and welterweight to fight guys like Fat Ninja?
The things in Rising is like that. If they can build up the division around some fire or group of fighters, they are just doing it. And if they will decide to just bring up some more middleweights from the abroad, because we all know that in Japan there's a limited possibilities. They can always bring up Tatsuya Mizuno from deep, but you don't have much more possibilities to match him up against Japanese opponent. And we don't know what they will decide and what he will decide. I'm speaking about from the Igor Tanabe's POV to do next. Definitely the show in Azerbaijan is some kind of possibility, but it's just just our discussion and predictions. What
Yes.
Rising can do with Igor in his next challenges. Maybe they will put him up against some marketable opponent on New Year's Eve. We don't know yet.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. When it comes down to Rising, it's not just the middleweight division they have problems with because of them being, foreign based.
Yeah,
It's
but
the fact
that's
that
just for now.
let me go ahead and finish. It's the fact that they really don't have any stellar talent above 70 kilograms, 155 pounds for the men, or in some cases all the way through for the women's divisions as well, because every weight division, especially for all of the women's divisions, or especially for above 155 pounds, 70 kilograms for the men, they have to rely on foreign-born talent. You see where I'm getting with this?
Yeah. Well, I don't think that's a problem. Remember when they first started out, that's where freaking Jerry Prohaska and Vadim Nemkov are from. The two best 205-pound fighters on the planet right now. Jerry Prohaska is the current UFC champion. He was able to achieve the UFC championship. Vadim Nemkov, current Bellator champion, current Bellator pound for pound #1. Okay, both those fighters. Those guys were epic Rising fighters. They were they were forged in the epic Rising Fighting Federation superior rule set and Grand Prix format here. Okay, that is and they're 205 pounders. There's no reason that Rising can't do that again with these other weight classes. And also, Jay Chris, there is some good heavyweights in Rising. Sudario, as well as a good up and coming. These sumo crossovers. I mean, Teep to the Junk on his show, he wants them to have a crossover collaboration super fights with the Bellator heavyweights. He loves the idea of these sumo crossover guys like Sudario and Takenshin and all them having collaboration super fights with the Bellator heavyweights. So, I mean, I guess your point is right that they need to bring in foreign and international fighters, but I think that they will. They've done it before. Like I was saying, Jerry Prohaska and Vadim Nemkov, two of the best, 200, if not the best 205-pound fighters today. Okay, they were epic Rising fighters, and there's no reason why they can't bring in more international guys, especially for the Azerbaijan card. That I just feel like that's going to be loaded with international fighters on that one.
I see. Now, when it comes down to the fight that kind of disappointed you on this card, and let's just face it, if there was any fights that might have disappointed those listening or watching or whatever, I mean, if you really fucking hate the fight, check your pulse. Well, actually, check your sanity. But still though, when it comes down to that question, is there any fight on this 8 fight rising card that you think underwhelmed you the most?
Yes. I mean, are we still going to go through each fight because we still have to get to Ota and Tofik's bout, and of course
I
a couple other
mean,
ones.
come to think of it, we can go ahead and we can talk about that in a little bit if we have time. I mean, obviously we got
Okay,
like
I see.
40 minutes left. Well, we
Okay,
got like 20 or 30
let me ask
minutes
the
left, but
question then.
still though.
Let me ask you a question then. I'm picking the Juan Archuleta bout, even though it was a collaboration super title fight. Juan Archuleta, it was a late notice replacement. Hiromasa Ojikubo was a warrior, stepped up late notice, a week or so late notice replacement bout, and save that card because Kai, I call him Glass Sakura. Daniel, I think you were the one that initially came up with that term. I'll make sure to give you the credit for that. To call him Kai Glass Sakura, made out of glass, because that's how we talk trash to the Lakers starting center Anthony Davis for being injury prone, talking about how they're made out of glass and stuff. So Kai, you got to make it back to the ring, buddy. Brother, you got to make it back to the ring, and we'll then you'll get the Azakura Action Bro moniker back. But as of right now, it's Kai Glassakura. But anyways,
yeah, but here's the thing, though. But here's the thing, though. Much like Anthony Davis, why would you basically bash Kai Asakura even though he's a former champion?
Because he's injury prone, like Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis was not getting away. He was going to be this year. He was getting just skewered in the media about missing games and injury stuff, saying he's made of glass. Okay, and Kai Glassakura, he is injury prone. This is not the first time he's pulled out of a fight. This is not the first time he's been injured. His camp should be smarter, and Kai himself should be smarter in his training, knowing about how he's injury prone. He's got to train smarter. That's on not only him, his coaches, and himself. He's got to know that his body. He's just got to be smarter with his training and stuff. Okay, but the fight I'm picking, Hiromasa is a warrior for stepping up late notice to fight a fighter like Juan Archuleta. Bellator's number 3 bantamweight right now, one of their most stacked divisions. Former champion over there as well. Also, the only man to beat Patchy Mix, the Bellator's current champion, interim champion, about to unify with Sergio Pettis for the championship. Okay, that's how Juan Archuleta is an elite fighter, and Hiromasa stepped up on late notice to keep him on the card. So I believe that Juan Archuleta took it easy on Hiromasa because of this, because of him stepping up late and saving that fight and saving Juan's place on the card. And my evidence of where I'm basing this theory on is because several times in that fight, I don't know if you guys noticed, there was opportunity for Juan to throw soccer kicks. There was an opportunity for Juan to throw harder grounded knees. And when Juan was throwing grounded knees, they were not as hard as they could have been. They were not thrown with as much power as they could have been, how it would have normally been, I believe, if Juan was going as hard as he could have. So I believe that Juan was taking it easy because of that, the fact that he was not throwing the superior rule set strikes when he had the opportunities. And when he was throwing like grounded knees, they were not with as much power as they normally would have been. That's why I'm picking that bout as the one that underwhelmed. That was what Jay Christian's question was. Which bout on this card underwhelmed the most? And I would say that one, just because it was an injury replacement, and I feel like Juan took it easy, even though it was a cool outcome, because now Juan is the bantamweight champion of Ryzen, like you guys were saying, the first American representative of American champion in Ryzen, and this also sets up future collaboration super fights, like I was talking about with Patchy Mix. Juan Archuleta is the only man to beat Patchy Mix. Patchy Mix is about to unify with Sergio Pettis. The winner of that matchup in the future could have a collaboration super title fight. Juan Archuleta with the Ryzen title, and then whoever the Bellator champion is. And if it's Patchy Mix, there's even the added the added extra sauce on there that Juan Archuleta is the only man to beat Patchy Mix as well. So just a bunch of fun stuff for the future. So even though the fight itself wasn't all that, it was still the implications for the future, and the results of the fight was awesome. And I did enjoy it.
Okay, Daniel, what say you? Would you basically say the same thing, or do you have another fight in mind that underwhelmed you?
Definitely not. I have to agree with Jay, because basically it was the only I would say, disappointing fight on the second part of this card. The best thing about this whole situation with injury of Kaya Glasakura is that it's not another broken hand injury. So this is a knee, so brand new injury. So it's not again the same damn thing to be just joking a bit, but from the other hand, they found the replacement in the person of Hiromasa Ogikubo, but we have to always have in mind that Archuleta was preparing for Kaya Sakura. I suppose that the game plan was totally different. The preparations were totally different. Kai Asakura focused on Kai's Asakura fighting style, and then he's injured. I don't remember when, how much before they have announced the replacement, but we all know how Hiromasa Gikubo is fighting. He's often fighting. How his style is often looking like, and we should know. We should be aware that he took a replacement. Probably he was not on the full after the full camp. And this is the one thing. And the second thing that is I'm defending Archuleta because we all know that he is a quality fighter, with no doubt. But he was trying to just fight with Ogikubo just in a safe way, because he was not preparing for that particular opponent, but he was preparing for totally different stylistically fighter in the person of Kaya Asakura, and that's probably why this fight looked like this, and the outcome was that okay, Archuleta is the first ever American rising champion, but yes, this fight was totally it was the only disappointment on the second part of that Super Rising show, with no doubt.
Wow, I guess it's pretty much unanimous. We all thought that the Juan Archuleta Hiromasa Ogikubo fight was boring, but especially when it came down to the very end after the championship was crowned. I mean, it's like Juan Archuleta, I understand what he's doing. I understand that, you're supposed to be thankful about winning a championship and all that, even if you didn't win it outright, like the Lakers didn't in 2020. I'm sorry, not sorry, Jay, about that.
Hey, that counts. Mickey Mouse, nothing. That's a title.
Yeah, I know. But still, though, it's like when it came down to the end of that fight, I mean, all people could pretty much remember was Juan Archuleta telling Kai Asakura, I guess in spirit, get your shit together. Well, in a way, after all the promotion that he tried to do when it comes down to this fight, obviously the appearance on Kelly and Mark, the aforementioned highly successful American daytime talk show I talked about earlier, aside from that appearance, what the hell else did he do? I mean, because he damn sure didn't put himself over in the rest of the press. I mean, I understand some of the appearances he did might have been taped to air for future things, but I just think that Juan Archuleta is the one who really should have gotten his shit together, regardless of who he was going to face, because he should have been well prepared. Even though Hiromasa Ogikubo came in as a late replacement, he should have been well prepared for this shit instead of just worrying about what Kai Asakura was going to do.
Well, did you see the pre-fight videos that he was recording? He was clearly upset that Kai pulled out with another injury.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I did see the video that, you know, the Ryzen PR team and the Ryzen English Twitter account posted.
okay, yeah. You saw the one where he's talking about how, you know, he was talking about the fight. Say, oh, you know, well, I got another opponent, but it's whatever though. So we got to still fight and stuff. And you know, he was clearly upset that he had an injury replacement opponent because he wanted to fight Kai. So I mean, and that was supposed to be like I think he doesn't feel like he actually won the. I mean, it doesn't matter. He's a champion. He actually has a title, the real title. But I feel like he placed more value because he's a fighter. He's a fighter's fighter. He wants that challenge, and he knows Kai for the title was the biggest challenge, and he probably would have felt like that would have been more of a championship title bout. And obviously it would have been, obviously, but still, it's just also I think that was another contributing factor to him taking it easy on Hiromasa. So I just think that, you know, we're being a little bit too harsh on him. I think Archuleta was just upset at the opponent change of Kai pulling out. That's why clearly before the fight and after the fight got on the mic, was calling out Kai, saying, "Get your stuff together," you know, and because he clearly wants to fight. That's what he wants to be is title defense. He clearly wants that matchup. Okay, and we know why, because the Asakura Action Bros are one of the hottest things in Japan, especially for combat sports. You know, and his brother in the main event, I hope we're going to get to as well. You know, even though he lost, he didn't win the title. It's still one of the most popular fighters in Japan, and with his breaking down. Oh, that's another thing we forgot to mention. In the first bout, the flyweight bout, Hiroya was from the breaking down show, and that he actually put on a very great performance. It was a split decision win. It easily could have gone his way. And some people were saying that, in fact, one of the judges thought that Hiroya won. So, I mean, it just is a testament to Mikuru and his show breaking down as well. I just want to make sure we get that in there, but before, because, you know, Mikuru is doing big things for Japanese combat sports, and he's a big star over there. Even with the loss, I don't think it hurts him that much. So, but his brother Kai has got to get back to the ring. So, I mean, I hope we have enough time to get to these other bouts. I mean, I still want to talk about Ota and Tofik, and then, you know, and hopefully his main event, like I was just bringing up with Vugar and Mikuru. So, how much time we got left, Jay Krish?
Well, according to my calculations, we got at least 15 minutes left. So,
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Y'all can go ahead and talk about the rest of the fights.
Daniel, take it away. Which one you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about?
I would like to talk about two fights in general, because after that event, we already know probably the the fight order, or the fight order of the main events of the Rising in Azerbaijan, because Vugar Karamov took the featherweight title, vacant featherweight title, and Tofik Musayev scored another the Rising victory against Akira. And I'm pretty sure that they will try to bring up Musayev from Bellator for the November show. Another guys that I think we will see, it's Ramazan Temirov from Uzbekistan. This is the same, same region. And then and last but not least, we have Mehman Mamedov, who also won his last Rising fights. This is just a backside thing about the results, the outcome of the last Rising show. About Shinobu Ota and Kenta Takisawa, I would like to know your opinion on the stuff, because to be honest, I haven't rewatched it yet. Yeah, what would you like to talk about? What's your opinion about the stuff and that whole, behind the ropes thing?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you. That's exactly what I want to talk about that fight for. So thank you, Daniel, for bringing that up. And it's because when that fight, Shinobu Ota, the Olympic silver medalist in wrestling, he scored a TKO win of Kenta Takezawa because he was beating up Kenta Takezawa, and Kenta Takezawa turned his back and like went outside the ropes and stuck, got outside the ropes, and that's when the referee jumped in and pulled off Ota from him. And Takezawa was still like fully conscious. He wasn't like out or anything like that. It's just he had his back turned and he was outside the ropes. And that is what basically they stopped the bout for, it seemed like. And I guess I both love and hate it. I love it because you're not, as a fighter in a fight, you should not be, turning your back to the fighter, and also, for the ring, one of the big things about the cage, that's a pro about the cage, is that the fighters cannot, go beyond the cage. They're inside it. In the ring, they can get beyond the ropes and go outside, and there's ring restarts and stuff like that, which is a big flaw of the ring, and maybe the only flaw of the ring. So in that way, I did not like that stoppage, because like I said, Takezawa was not out. He just was outside the ring and with his back turned. So in a way, it was a fair stoppage, but at the same time, I didn't like it. I felt like it should have just been like a ring restart type of thing. I don't know if they should have called it off completely for that. I'm torn between the two, basically, on that. But a big win for Ota, the Olympic medalist, gets another win in Ryzen. I mean, I'm excited for this guy's future as well. I mean, he is really showing great promise. So early into his career as well. I'm really excited to see him fight again. So, and then of course, Daniel, the other matchup that you brought up was the Tofik Musayev. What a sensational knockout. The guy, I mean, exactly as advertised, exactly as we had told everybody in the predictions, this guy's going to bring the action. And he 100% did, score another fantastic knockout. And big ups to his opponent, Akira, as well, for having the guts and the courage and the balls to be in there and getting a firefight with a guy like Tofik to produce that sensational finish like that. So just want to give him props as well. And then of course, like also the other fight, the last fight that we haven't gone through that I wanted to go with was the main event, the Vugar Karamov submitting Mikura Asakura in impressive fashion, winning the title. And like Daniel said, he is going to be headlining that Ryzen Azerbaijan international event. And him and Tofik are going to be on that. I bet you anything, Daniel, that it's already been negotiated with Scotty Cokes. They're definitely going to have Tofik on that card. I mean, it just seems like it fits so perfectly. It's got to happen. You know what I mean? I think it's already been negotiated, and it's going to happen 100%. Even though we're just speculating, I feel like that's definitely going to come true, and that's going to come to fruition. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And if like you were saying, that Azerbaijan event is going to be in a cage and going to be landmark 7, I still think that they should put the title on the line. But if they don't, go ahead and just make it a non-title bout because it's in the cage, and keep Vugar as the main event. Just have it as your champion in a non-title bout because it's in the cage. That's fine. Oh, but if you want to go ahead and do it with be the title on the line, I'm fine with that as well. Just make sure you say it's like a one-time thing because it's a cage event in Azerbaijan and stuff like that for fans like Daniel that want the title bouts to be in the ring only. Okay, and also please consider, if you're not going to do the 10-minute rounds for title bouts, please consider going to the 5-minute rounds for the title fights. We just got to get those title fights longer in the future, and pretty much, that's pretty much it for this card. I know we only got like 5-10 minutes left, so just want to say what a fantastic event that it was. And thanks Scotty Cokes and Sakaki Barasan for making it happen, because like I said, this to me is it's the most fun thing going on in mixed martial arts right now. I just absolutely love it. It's just so much fun. And this event, even though it was so snake bit by injuries, it was freaking awesome. It was awesome, and they pulled a rabbit out of the hat magic trick with the Chihiro Suzuki Patricio pound for pound pitbull late notice title super fight. I mean, collaboration super fight that ended in absolutely sensational fashion. Just which I think is the upset of modern MMA history, of one of the best, if not the best, biggest upsets in modern MMA history, certainly of this new era. absolutely sensational. I mean, I can't say now everybody knows who Chihiro Suzuki is now because of this. And he's also, we set up so many awesome future bouts and stuff that could be happening from this event that happened with Chihiro Suzuki and the Pitbull matchup with the outside the cage and ring drama with Kleber and Patricky Pitbull getting a backstage scuffle, like reminiscent of the Almighty Pride Championships with Wanderlei Silva and Crazy Horse. So many awesome stuff happening. And also, before we end the show, make sure everybody knows that the next upcoming Ryzen events, Ryzen 44 is September 24th. It's going to be in the ring. And I'm predicting it's going to be a bundled package on Fight TV for international fans, because a week later is the next Ryzen Landmark. Landmark 6 is going to be October 1st. So I believe those are going to be bundled on Fight TV. So look for that to happen. Look for those. Also, look for news coming out soon about potential collaboration super fights being added to those events. Because remember on Jim Ozecki's podcast, Ensign Inouye, they were talking about that, rumored that was going to be collaboration bouts on those cards. And also on the Azerbaijan card we're talking about is November 4th. So I'm going to make sure you get that out there as well. And make sure you also watch out. They're probably going to be adding some collaboration super fights to that as well. Tofik being one of them for sure that we think is going to be on there. So and also I just want to thank Jay Krish for having us on and doing this focus fights thing. I mean, I can't get enough talking with you guys about. I love the Epic Rising. I love talking about and thank you to Daniel as well for being a fantastic guest. Daniel Zubicki from Poland does fantastic work over in Poland with Polish MMA. Commentates on the WOTOR fighting championships as well. Does English commentary. Daniel, make sure you tell them that some of the American fans buy it just for you commentating, and also see the superior rule set in the Polish fighters as well. So, so you tell them all that stuff as well. So again, thank you to Daniel and thank you to Jay Krish for this show. It's just been absolute pleasure talking with you guys about this. The Epic Rise Superior Rule set. I just love it so much, and it's just so much fun. So just thank you again.
You're welcome. But one more thing I gotta ask. Obviously, we mentioned Ryzen's future events. August 24th, they're gonna be back at Saitama Super Arena
September.
with Ryzen.
September.
Okay, September 24th with Ryzen 44, right?
Correct. Yes.
Ryzen
In the ring.
44 and Ryzen Landmark 5 the following weekend.
Yeah, Landmark 6
right.
October. That's in Nagoya or Nagoya? Daniel,
Nagoya.
you know what
Nagoya.
Okay, yeah.
Samurai Mark Hunt is back.
But yeah, we talked about Ryzen's future events, and obviously that Ryzen card that's going to be taking place on foreign soil for the first time in Ryzen's history in Azerbaijan. It'll probably feel like an early birthday present for me, especially considering my birthday is the following day. But still, though, when it comes down, yeah, I know. But when it comes down,
that's a good birthday present.
But when it comes down to Ryzen's future plans, obviously they were supposed to go to Honolulu to do an event, but that didn't happen. But now with the, and I really can't basically say anything good about this because it might be good or bad. But with the Association of Boxing Commissions basically saying that Ryzen rules may be looked into for future consideration, do you think that we might potentially see a Ryzen USA show somewhere in the 50 stars and 13 stripes down the line?
You darn right. Yes, sir. We absolutely will sometime in the future. I don't know how long into the future it's going to be. Could be next year. Could be 10 years from now. We don't know, but it's definitely going to happen in the future. What Jay Krish is talking about, we covered on the We Are Ryzen podcast that just dropped today as well. Talking about the ABC Boxing Commissions having the Epic Ryzen was there. I think it was even Shingo that was there talking about Ryzen, had several slides up talking about the different rule sets, talking about the different, statistics of those rule sets and stuff. And just, letting the commissions know about the superior rule set. And the Colorado commissioner that he's the one that allowed one championship to have their grounded knees in Colorado. That's the first that's ever happened in American soil since way back in the day, right? So that's huge news, and he was very open to it. I read off a direct quote from him on the We Are Rising podcast, saying that he wants the commissions to keep an open mind. He wants them to look at the facts and data and the stuff that was being presented. So there is a very real possibility that could happen in the future. Jay Krish, it's very exciting. I could see it happening in Colorado first because of how friendly that commissioner is to this idea, how open-minded and enlightened. Really, I mean, he's how enlightened that commissioner is about the superior rule set. And so I could see it being in Colorado. I would definitely plan a meetup with you guys if you wanted to. If there was ever a real superior rule set Epic Rising show in America, we should do a meetup for it. That'd be fantastic, I think. But I do think that will happen in the future. Yes.
If only I had the money, and if only they would do one show in Texas, even though the rules down here, according to the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation, are kind of sketchy. Now, Daniel, really quick, what say you? What are your thoughts about Rising doing more foreign shows?
Oh, I would like to say that I will be up there in Azerbaijan. I just bought my couple days ago. I bought my flight tickets.
Nice.
And I think we will have some Rising Discord meetup by the European part of the community, and I'm really looking forward about it. And you can expect some footage from that trip. I will do a vlog, and this time with English subtitles. Moreover, I have a plans to make a subtitles to my old vlog from my first Japanese trip, because I saw that a lot of people from who are not Polish people saw that and said, hey, it's possible to go to Japan to watch Rising, and it was kind of impressive for me, and this is the first thing that I would like to say about the foreign shows. I'm really excited about what will be next with that rule set issue with the boxing commissions, because they are from what I can see, we can clearly see they are trying to move something in that area. And definitely there is a possibility to have the full Rising rule set. Of course, Rising wanted to adopt unified rules if they would make an event this year. It was supposed to be in June, but fortunately it wasn't. It didn't come to matter. Because as we all know that the Blaisdell Arena is under reconstruction right now, so they have additional time to just making things better for them, to prepare for that their US debut. And I think it's kind of bad luck and luck in one thing, because they couldn't realize their first US event, but they have more time to prepare it better for the actual debut date in the United States of America. And about the Azerbaijan, they have some some basics. They have some Azerbaijani stars. They have also a prospect from Uzbekistan in their regular roster. And what I wanted to say that Azerbaijan is a good market for them, because they don't rent the big arena. It's the national gymnastics arena is like 8 to 9,000 people. And the Azerbaijan it doesn't have a major promoter inside. There is no Cage Warriors, there's no KSW, Octagon, Ares, or Hexagon, or something like this, and they can just make the things as they want to do, without looking on the competition, on the local competition, because back in the days only ACA was doing the single shows in Azerbaijan, and no one else from the major promotions. And this two things makes the things good for Rising. First thing, they have the local stars, and the second one, they don't have a real competition in this market. So we will see. I'm preparing my manats for the another Rising poster, for another Rising merchandising, and maybe if there will be possible, I will buy the official fight gloves. This is my and of course I will do the next vlog from my trip, and this is my my plans for future for November, and I'm really looking forward for that show, which will be just before the New Year's event.
Right.
Oh man, Daniel, we're already looking forward to that. I can't wait to see the vlog, everything that you guys are gonna do. I mean, I hope that the meetup comes to fruition. All that stuff you're talking about, that'd be fantastic. Heck, I want to spend you some money to get me one of the shirts, because I bet you that they're not going to be in Japan sizes anymore in the Azerbaijan show. So they don't even have a triple extra large that'll fit me over there. So.
Right, of course. But seeing as though the end of the show is near, I just want to basically ask if y'all can, well, actually, first of all, Daniel, if you can plug how people can contact you. Obviously, they already know how, but just for the uninhibited, how can they do so?
You can find me first and foremost on Twitter, DZIUBICKI, like my first name from the first name, and the whole my surname. Definitely on Twitter. You can always listen to the next episodes of Japan MMA Beat that you are also taking part in. And I think for the English speaking community, that's all. There are two main channels that you can listen to me. Of course, Focus Fights Audio, We Are Rising podcast. And you can write to me also on We Are Rising Discord, and that's all. Also, I would like to say that we have one bout announced for Rising 44, Kyohei Hagiwara against who? Against
Juntaro Ushiku.
What? Oh, Juntaro Ushi. Okay, yeah.
That fight is gonna be. Yeah, that fight is going to be very interesting, and I hope we get the chance to talk about it more. Now, I'm going to go ahead.
I'm so glad that Daniel, I just want to say I'm so glad Daniel brought that up. I can't believe we didn't say that this whole show.
We only got 2 fucking minutes left.
Oh, go ahead. No, finish it up.
Right. But I'm going to go ahead and put over myself real quick just so that you, JayWolf, can have the final word, because you have the sound bite. But still, though, I have been the Chillmeister J. Christian Gary. You can follow me on Twitter. Yes, Twitter, because again, fuck you, Elon Musk. Take your X and shove it up your ass. But yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Chris Gary 1992. No, shit. At Chris Gary 92. Fuck. I'm sorry. I keep fucking it up. I keep fucking it up. I feel like Team USA at a penalty kick session. But still, though, point of the matter is, you can follow me on Twitter, not X, at Chris Gary 92. You can follow me on Instagram at Christian Gary 1992. You can subscribe to the Focus Fights channel, which if you're not already subscribed, please do so. If you help us, we'll help you back. And check out our links on our Linktree page, which should be in the description below, because it's the only way you'll be able to find us, because I don't feel like running my mouth and basically losing my voice putting down all these plugs. Other than that, you can check out whatever Ryzen has in store at jp.ryzenff.com for more information. And of course, check them out on Fight TV, Fight.tv, and the Fight TV app. Download it for your favorite app or device of choice, just to fight like you mean it. And watch more Ryzen. Now, JayWolf, you're going to go ahead and finish it up.
Oh, man.
Because you only got at least a minute to get this shit over with.
Okay, hey, just real quick, thank you. I thank you for having me go last, and just you guys did a fantastic job and talking about all this stuff. And you can find me on Twitter at JayWolf1. It's misspelled with 2 Y's, just like it was all the way back when I was posting the Yahoo boards way back in 05 or 06, whatever it was. I have the same person. That's how you know it's me, not an imposter. Also, look for me on Tape to the Junks podcast. We're going to preview Bellator coming up this weekend, and we do ridiculously long recaps as well after the event as well. So they're a lot of fun. Let's talk about Ryzen and all that. Also, watch for the Rio Ryzen podcast. Just did a fantastic show with Drew and Jay Krish on there as well. Talk about all this stuff. Thanks to Daniel Zubicki and everybody. Daniel Zubicki on this show and everybody in the Ryzen Discord as well. I'm glad you shouted them out. And also, sorry, I do not have the sound. I remember Jay Krish, I was having some phone issues. I had to use my other phone for this, and I can't play the sound bite, but I can imitate it. So I'm just going to go. Here's how we'll end it. I'll just say the catchphrase we love: the pride never die. Pride is rising. And now I'll do the Lenny Hart one.
No. I think we already got that down.
Okay.
I mean, you saying pride never die, pride is rising is enough to just basically replace me or you having to fetch for that Lenny Hart soundbite. But still, though, it was fun. I hope we get the opportunity to do more of this shit down the line. I mean, even if it leads to no subscribers and barely any listens on the podcast version, which of course you can find on the Linktree page in the description. But still, though, it's been fun. Even if I don't get any future interviews for this channel or the podcast, I hope we can do this more often. Because we need, I mean, in addition to all of us needing somebody to talk to, believe me, you are never alone. I mean, we all just love to converse about the superior rule set, Japanese MMA, and just things that make us feel cool. And we hope y'all enjoyed checking us out on Focus Fights Audio. Till then, peace, my peoples in one love world. Take care of yourself and each other. And, of course, well, protect yourself at all times, but also don't forget, when it comes down to the fight game, there is one thing you need to realize. The superior rule set is amazing, and say it again, JayWolf.
Pride never die. Pride is rising.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Other than that, talk to y'all later. Peace. Okay.